Hello everyone, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. It's been a while since I've done one of these kind of videos. If you saw my recent unboxing of the Arcturus set, you know that I've recently been buying some black metal, some metal. What we're going to start with tonight is kind of an unboxing of this 1349, the Candlelight Years. So this basically has all of the stuff that they did for Candlelight through the Revelations of the Black Flame. So Liberation, Beyond the Apocalypse, Hellfire, and Revelations of the Black Flame. It also has Helvetia Fire, which is a DVD. So this comes with 5 discs. The last disc is kind of housed in this weird spot back here. And if you're not familiar with 1349, they are a black metal band that formed in '94, and I think their first album was, let me see here, I think it was released in 2001, and the drummer Frost has been in the band basically since the beginning. At first he was just kind of like a hired gun, and then on Liberation he took over full-time as drummer. If you're not familiar with Frost, he's played with Satiricon basically since the beginning, and I think he's fantastic, and he plays with a lot of just natural sounds. I'm sure they use some triggers, but like one of the Satiricon CDs that the Satiricon CD that I own, I should say, I only own one so far. The drums sound so natural and not triggered at all, and I love that. But if you're not familiar with what 1349 means, is that was the year that Norway was hit by the Black Death, or the plague. And I think it's funny because they reference that a bit in describing how though I guess the plague is not funny, but the fact that they chose 1349 as the band name because that was the year of the plague. So I'm waiting for a 2020 band to come out, or a 2019 band to come out. They say, our black metal is like the plague in many ways. It is grim and dark like the ages that followed the plague. It is merciless and extreme and harbors no affection for anyone. That is a perfect description of what this band sounds like. So, with this, like other Candlelight and I can't remember what other bands, I have a Holy Terror and a Candlemass collection like this, and I'm pretty sure those are on Candlelight also. They're not readily available for me to grab. They're too far over there. But anyway, they always come with complete lyrics. This has liner notes, and then every album, if the artwork isn't replicated, like just all put together as one book, but each booklet is individual, they will kind of create new artwork and just have all the lyrics in order of the albums. So that pleases me, because this is like a 26-page booklet or something like that. That's a good indication of what this band looks like. So I picked this up, and the reason I picked this up is because I was having a shitty day, and I decided to get all of their discography. This is the only one I couldn't find locally. This is called Noir. This is their, I guess, what is that, the 5th? Yeah, their 5th album. I've only listened to a little bit of this. Just got it yesterday. And I found this used, Massive Cauldron of Chaos, which was their Oral Hellfire and their most savage and cruel album. That was, I think, 2000. Shoot, what year was this one? Sorry, let me see this. That was 2014. And then their newest one is Infernal Pathway, which is 2019. So I actually had I had everything through Hellfire originally back in the early 2000s, or mid 2000, probably about 2005, 2006, and for some reason I sold things. I don't know why I sell things. It's one of my conditions. I actually saw these guys open up for Celtic Frost in 2005 or something like that, before Celtic Frost totally stopped existing and he did the Triptychon stuff. Funny thing, this is co-produced by Thomas Gabriel Warrior. So that Arcturus box set and a couple other things kind of set off this whole obsession with black metal again, and one of those was In the Woods. I have Omnio and Strange in Stereo. I thought, you know what, I need to get their first album because I was also getting some Green Carnation stuff. And if you're not familiar with In the Woods, let me see if it's easy for me to figure out who is on here, because it's all handwritten. Ex Botry, yeah, it's, just look it up. Look up who is in this. So, In the Woods kind of formed out of a band called Green Carnation, which was Chort, who I believe was in Emperor. Let me see here. Yeah, he was on In the Night Side Eclipse. And he did Green Carnation, then they became In the Woods, and I'm not sure who all was part of In the Woods. I did not do much research before I decided to make this video, because I am waiting for my furnace guy to come to hopefully make it so I'm not freezing all day. Because my furnace is working, you can hear it, but it is just blowing cold air, like I am in the Arctic wilderness. So, In the Woods, the Heart of the Ages, and that was kind of spurred on by the fact that I found a bunch of Green Carnation things used. Quiet Offspring, which I think is their fourth one, and then A Blessing in Disguise. That's an awful album cover. The one most people know, The Light of Day, Day of Darkness, which is one like 60+ minute song, and then of course their first one. I have not listened to these a ton. I've just listened to little bits and pieces of all of them. I've been kind of obsessed with a couple other things. So, let's see. This is a Satiricon album, the self-titled album that I once owned, got rid of for stupid reasons, and now rebought. I'm thinking of getting all the Satiricon stuff, but I'm not sure. The early stuff is harder for me to get into. I really like the sound of this, just because the drums are so, like, natural sounding, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's just very organic, and it doesn't sound like there's any kind of triggers or anything like that on them. So what are we doing here? Oh, this was one of the things, kind of out of the blue. I finally picked up a Vader album. I really have always loved this album cover, but I was just kind of jonesing for that kind of 90s death metal sound before everything was triggered. I think you now know that there's kind of like a what do you call it? A kind of a theme going on with how I like things done, and no triggers is good, if you ask me. I mean, play as fast as you can, but let's try to do it without any triggers. I know that's impossible for some bands, but I just think it's more true to, I guess, I don't know. And sorry, that was somebody calling me. And that means there's going to be somebody calling this phone that I'm doing this video on. Hopefully not. But I also picked up Covenant, which is kind of a super group of sorts. It is, let's see here. It is Nagash, Blackheart, Estenu, Hellhammer, Sverd, and Sarah Jessica Jezebel Diva. So this is like a super group. This would probably be the only one I ever get by these guys. I owned it at one other time when it first came out. I just pretty much got it because I got it for cheap, and it really kind of brings me back to the era when this band first came out. I think I was working at a place called Down in the Valley at the time. Also picked up the newest Cradle of Filth. I've only listened to maybe like 2 or 3 songs on this. Honestly, the funny thing is I bought this and then I listened to them live at, oh God, there's like a 6 or 7 song EP that they released live at Wacken or something like that, or Wacken. Got this because it finally was not the hipster black metal Death Haven Infinite Granite. Prior to this black metal obsession, I was also kind of obsessing about newer new wave stuff like Choir Boy, Drab Majesty, stuff like that. Oh, there's a couple more piles. I found this for $8, and it is Behemoths Messe Noir, and it has a DVD with a few shows on it and a CD, and it's them playing The Satanist in its entirety, which is my favorite Behemoth album. I love the song Blow Your Trumpet, Gabriel. If you want to offend a religious person, just let them read those lyrics. I know, because I've given them to somebody. But yeah, this has a lot, big booklet. I could have just watched the show on YouTube, but I thought for $8, I'll get that. So I own this and The Satanist. I've thought about getting some of their later stuff past, like, I think it's called Demonic or something like that. I can't remember. Let me see. Oh, after I got that Arcturus box set, and almost the same day that I picked that Arcturus box set up, I saw that they re-released Ulver's, what is this called? God, what is it called? Themes from William Blake's Marriage of Heaven and Hell. I owned this when it first came out way back in 98, I think it was. Yep, 98. And I really thought it was kind of cool back then, but there was some point where I apparently was pillaging all my extreme metal or things that weren't extreme enough or something like that. If you've never heard this, this is, think of Arcturus, but on a way more experimental level. It has Garm singing, and if you're not familiar with Garm, he was the singer for Ulver, Arcturus, and Borknagar. He's focusing mainly on our Ulver now, which have gone very synth pop, electronic, and that kind of stuff. I'm thinking possibly of getting the rest of the collection. I own their first, second, and fourth album. I want to get the one with a wolf on the cover that everybody said was recorded in the woods, just because it's so raw and I don't know. I wish I would have picked it up the time I saw it for $8 used or something like that. But now it's like a $23 import. But yeah, this is a 2-disc set, very experimental. The very first song on here is fantastic. I think that's Garm doing some fantastic vocals. He has a very acquired taste when he's actually singing clean. And then I believe it was last week, Borknagar's first album finally came out through Century Media as a 2-disc version. So these are all like alternate mixes and demos. I haven't listened to that part yet. I have listened to this like 2 or 3 times since I got it. I love it. I think it's like listening to black metal in the woods. It has a very similar kind of feel to some of the early Ulver stuff, and of course, because Garm is part of that, also known as Christopher Riggs, I think. And I'm hoping to see these guys. They've canceled twice now since the pandemic started. In 2020, I was supposed to see them in April, I think it was. And then that got pushed to February of this year and then canceled altogether. Now they're doing the Devastation Nation tour again in the U.S. It's also with Rotting Christ, Borknagar, and a couple other bands. I think I still have that ticket. I don't know. I took it out of my wallet because I was like, well, this got canceled altogether. So I'm not sure if that ticket still is good, but I'll pay an extra $25 to see them, hopefully. And if you have not heard the newest Borknagar, it's called True North. Sounds totally different than what this was doing. And it has ICS Vortex, who's also known as Simon Hastes, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But he is on vocals, and I believe bass. And he does just clean vocals. Well, he does some screaming stuff too. But he used to be in Dimmu Borgir. He did all the clean vocals in that and bass while he was in there. Then he took over for Garm in Arcturus, and he also took over for him in Borknagar. So I'm waiting for the day that he takes over for him in Ulver. A band that I have struggled to enjoy for a long time, way back in mid-2000s or something like that. I picked up The Mantle like about the same year it came out, and I have played in bands and know the bass player Jason Walton. He used to live in Minnesota, and I played at Milwaukee Metal Fest with him with another band, and we were kind of all hired guns at that point. I tried to get into Mantle, but the vocals just killed it for me because the clean vocals on that just killed it, in my opinion. But I've kind of given other things, the Spirit of the Earth Aflame or something like that. The album before this, let me look here, and I'll tell you which one it was. Marrow of the Spirit, sorry. It's super expensive now on CD, which is irritating because, you know, I have had it in my hand before in the past. I think there might have been a re-release of it that is a little cheaper. Nah, it's about $25 to $30. So I would get that one, Marrow of the Spirit, and I got this one last week. I've listened to it like 1.5 times. I really enjoy Aesop's drumming on this. Actually, everything is kind of like clicking with me finally. I felt bad because Jason's a really nice guy and I wanted to love this band, but I just never got into it. And finally, though, it's clicking with me after like 7 years too late or whatever, because they broke up in, what, 2016 or something like that. But yeah, this is a really good album. I don't know what else to say. Oh, produced or engineered by Billy Anderson, who, if you like kind of raw production, he's your man. He would never use triggers ever, as far as I know. He did Gathering Wilderness by Primordial, and that was the first album that really got me into that band. And I think the bass drums are a little bit buried in the mix, but you know, I've enjoyed quite a bit of other things. He's done some Neurosis stuff also. So, all right, enough about... Oh, by the way, this was Agalloch. So if I'm also, let's see, getting black metal, I should also have Emperor. For the very first time in my life, I've owned Emperor. None of these were rebuys. I found a couple used, got a couple new. So these are the Spine Farm Candlelight Records versions. And listened to this the other day. Very raw, very very much in that early black metal vein. I do really like Satana. I like the clean vocals as kind of like a nice little break from all the screeching and stuff. Picked up Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk. You don't get enough anthems to the Welkin at Dusk anymore. And, this is when they looked all menacing and stuff. What do we got here? We got Alver, Trim, Samoth, and Isham. On this, or Isan, this one had Short on bass, Faust on drums, and then Samoth and Isan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And then it's just down to Trim, Samoth, and Isan. On this, I think one of those guys does the bass for it. Let me see. Yeah, Isan does the bass. And then I picked up the double disc Inferno, which has them at the Inferno Fest and Vakken Open Air. So 2-disc set. And last but not least, part of the reason I got all those Emperor things and, man, that Arcturus box set just kind of opened the floodgates for everything that I'd, kind of put off buying or avoided for a long time. I already owned his first solo album, which is The Adversary, because Garm, again, it all brings me back to Garm, because Garm does lead vocals on one of the songs. On Angel, you get Michael Akerfeld, and of course, this is Isan. Am I pronouncing that right? I'm not sure. Somebody tell me. Angel. These are the ones that I purchased new after. This one has such minimal artwork, it's kind of irritating. But these are all the digipacks are the Candlelight Spine Farm versions. What is this one called? This is called Das Seelen Brecken. And then four that I found used. I found his very newest one. I found 2 copies of this. This is called AMR. And a lot of these have guest vocalists by his brother-in-law, who's the singer of, what's that band called? Leprous. He does some cover songs. Here, I'll show you the last one. That's his last studio. These 2 are EPs. So, here, let me just move this. So these 2 are EPs. On this one, he does a song. I'm not sure Rock and Roll is Dead. I'm not sure if that's a cover. But he does Wrathchild by Iron Maiden on this one. And then there's 3 new songs. And then on Pharos, he does Roads by Portishead. I like the My Dying Bride version a lot better. And then he does Manhattan Skyline by So that is a lot of my new purchases. I don't know, was there more? Nope, that looks like it. So yeah, in a super black metal phase right now, and probably gonna get more stuff. I'm looking forward to a couple things coming out tomorrow, which is Friday the 19th. New music coming out tomorrow. The new Chemist is coming out tomorrow, and the new Obscura. And then November 26th is the new Cynic album and the new King Crimson Live. So yeah, this year has been a great year for me, purchasing music, and a great year for new albums coming out and stuff like that. So hope you enjoyed this. Give me some comments. Let me know what I should maybe be picking up, and what I should be listening to and focusing on in this, if you have an opinion in that. So yeah, take it easy. Bye-bye.